Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first series of my AI automation course. Today, we're going to be exploring a very important tool called Make. And this tool would help us automate our task workflow. Will help us automate our task workflow. And this would effectively save us time. It would effectively save us hours and hours of manual labor. We're in the day of AI. AI is all around us. We need to be able to react, adapt so that we can stay on top of technology trend. And with all the buzz around AI, it's important for us to get to the foundation and understand that AI has always been around, but ChatGPT exposed us to how we can use it more seamlessly in our everyday without coding. I'm the no-code guy. I love to teach people, simple no-code systems, approach, concept that would help you gain advantage, do amazing work with ease and purpose. So if you're just meeting, my name is Noah Oloja, a career coach and mentor. Today, I want to take you on the pedestal of learning an important tool that will help you on the journey to learning AI, to learning artificial intelligence. So let's get in. So this is make.com, as I've said. It's a no-code automation tool that allows us automate workflow, tasks. And I want you to just think about this as if you're doing something repetitive, something you feel like you can actually, that you can predict the pattern. I think there's opportunity to reflect and say, hey, is it possible for me to automate this so I don't spend, man hours going through the same thing? For example, I've been able to remove some of the stress in my life, learning these tools to be able to integrate apps. For example, I love to do market research in my area. I've been able to develop workflow that does the research and sends it via email to me every day. And that is super, super important to me. So if you think about some of the things like sending emails, like, summarizing a report or doing some research, there's a lot of use case that you can use AI automation to like make.com to achieve. But I'm going to show you how it works. You may say, hey, no, I don't know how this works. Yeah, that is why we're here. So I'm going to run you through how this works. So this is the dashboard. Here you can see the team where you can definitely collaborate with other members of your team. And you can see users here where you'll be able to add users, and you can configure different notification options. I don't want to dwell on this for now, but let's go into the next menu, which is the scenario. This is where all the action happens. You probably be spending 90% of your time in the scenario. So what is scenario? So this is where you create the different scenarios that you want to, or workflow that you want to achieve. Like I said, what you want to automate. This is where you'll be able to do that. And you can see some of the scenarios that I've created in the past. For example, this is a blog automation that I did. So this effectively does some research, pulling data from Google News and then summarizing it using ChatGPT, and then also turning that into a blog and then delivered to my email, which is super useful. So if I wanted to do that manually, you can imagine that I have to go on the website, Google News, read the blog, summarize it, then send it to my email, or, create a document. But yeah, I'm able to save a lot of hours, I would say, automating this process. So I'm going to show you how to create a scenario as we go, but just give you the overview of the tool to start with. So basically, to create a scenario, you're going to click create here. Once you click the create, you see this where you can see a lot of apps. I'm sure that a lot of these apps are familiar. So you can see Facebook, Gmail, Google Drive, Google Docs, Webbook, Facebook. There's a lot, right? There are thousands and thousands of apps. I think that is the power of this tool. So I'll run you through how we can do a sample automation, but for now, let's get into. So once you create a scenario, this is used to run it once during, development. So you can just test if it's working well. And this is like the interval, like how you want the automation to run. Do you want it to run every 15 minutes, or do you want it to run every day? Or I can show you a sample in one of the scenarios I've already created. This is to save your scenario, which is pretty straightforward. This is scenario settings. This is note if you want to collaborate with another user. This is to revert to the previous version. Say you've added a new step and maybe it's not working and you wanted to revert to a new version. You can do that. This is auto align, so it helps you align the workflow, because as you add more and more of these, it can get bigger and bigger. So it's just good for readability. This is going to allow you import a blueprint or what somebody has already done before. I can show you. So I can import a blueprint that I've downloaded before. So let's import this. So you would see, yeah. So we're going to import a blueprint. Let me check. Okay, this is a lead blueprint. We're going to import the lead. Oh, let me do this resume. Now we can see this blueprint. Basically, what that means is somebody has done this automation and I can just import it, which is so useful. You can imagine, if we don't want to be doing hard work, we want to do smart work, right? So if somebody has done an automation or workflow that is useful to you, if they're kind enough to give you access, you can then import it that way. And you can also export, blueprint as well, which means you're exporting and sharing with somebody else. And you can explain the flow as well. So what this is saying, basically, to explain this scenario, I need to save it. But of course, I need to configure it because I've just imported another blueprint. So to configure it, so this is an app that's very useful in scraping data from different websites like LinkedIn, for job, Indeed, and then when you get all the data about the new jobs, this can help maybe prompt to create resume based on this template, and then you create a new resume and we can upload it here, and then you can update the sheet. So this is like a high level of what this automation is doing. It's basically geared to help speed up the process of job application. As you know, when you're applying to job, you want to make sure that you're using a tailored resume, and this is going to be super important. So other menu here is we have the tools. Yeah, so this is for flow control. We'll dive deeper as we go. We have other tools like triggers. I don't want you to be bogged into this too much. As you learn the basics, you would be able to pick this up when you're doing more complex stuff. Similarly, text parser like HTML, people who write a bit of code will be able to relate to this. Yeah, so you can add favorite tabs. So maybe I use Google Sheet a lot, OpenAI, I can just add them here. So it's easy for me to use. So that's that on scenario. We'll go to template. So I'm going to discard this change. So you go to template. So this template is again, a lot of people have done a lot of automation already that is useful. So you can just come here and look through different scenarios, right? So most of them are self-explanatory. So this is I want to generate ChatGPT completion from Google Sheet, or I want to sync Facebook leads to Google Sheet. So once Facebook lead is gotten, you want to sync that to Google Sheet. So there are different scenarios. You need to just look at the different scenarios and see the one that will work for you. So this will save you a ton of time. So rather than you trying to configure from scratch, you can just explore the template and do something useful with it. And it's one of my favorite, by the way. This is connection. So all the connections that I have already. So these are just connection to my email, Gmails, OpenAI, Perplexity, YouTube, etc. And webbook connection as well. So webbook, just to quickly explain, it's just like, when you order something from Amazon and you're waiting for the delivery, you are not going to stay at the door, right, all day long waiting for the delivery man. So it is only when you hear the door knock that you go to the door to receive your package. Here, this webbook is just like when on a website, when an action happens, this will be triggered and it will just send it to receive data from that link and then use that to trigger the automation. For example, so the use case I did was on our website, when a student books a course and it is saved in the database, right? So we've been able to configure it in a way that it is also sent to this webbook address. And from this webbook address, we can then do other action, like send them a series of emails, through our workflow. So we don't have to manually go and send them email about their onboarding and other information they need to be aware of, which is super, super effective for us, because typically we would have had to there's a new sign up, then we'll go and send mail manually. I know, it's annoying, but yeah, that has happened in the past, but this automation has saved us a lot of time. And keys is also all the keys, like the OpenAI keys that you've been able to connect with this app. You can see there, devices as well, all the devices that you've used before. So these are not very important, but you can also get help. So you can get help from the resource hub. So it is super useful as well. So if you're stuck, you can do that. And other notification help from the community as well. And then you can contact support. Right, so this is the overview of make.com. I hope you learned one or two things. In the next one, we're going to configure a scenario and you see that in action.